We can probably get started now.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So we're just gonna get started. So thank you for coming to our workshop, designing your personal website. So yeah, this is, in case you aren't familiar with us, we're a design collective. We're McGill's largest design community, and throughout the year, we've hosted many different types of workshops and also career-related events. So make sure to follow us on all of our social media, which is on this slide, so you can keep up with us. This workshop is our last workshop of the semester, I believe. So you can just keep up with us because I'm sure we'll have a lot of new workshops coming out next year, which is really exciting. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna do a little brief introduction. So I'm Darien. I'm one of the instructors for today. I'm currently a third year computer science student at McGill, and honestly, I'm a lot more technical than creative, but I do enjoy learning about how design is incorporated into technical solutions. And when I'm not coding or doing schoolwork, I love to cook and explore the city.
And I'm Joy. I'm the other instructor, and I'm a second year computer science student. And I'm kind of like the opposite. I'm a little more creative than I am technical. But fun facts, I love matcha oat milk lattes. Had one this morning. It was a good day.
So, yeah, like I said at the very beginning, in case you missed it, before we get started with everything, make sure you download the workshop assets from Google Drive and make a Webflow account at webflow.com. The links to everything were in the description of the Facebook event, but they're also in the chat. So yeah, the workshop assets are what we're going to use for the tutorial. So it'll just be easier if you download them right now, and it'll be easier for you to follow along. Um, I'm just going to briefly introduce what we're going to be working on today and what tools we'll be using. So what is a personal website? I'm sure most of you guys do know what a personal website is, but there is not really a formal definition. I think personal websites are commonly just used as a way for an individual to showcase their skills and personal interests, but it's really flexible depending on what your goal and the purpose of your website is for. So they're also used as a way to attract potential employers and a means of expressing your passions. I think there are some common aspects in all websites, such as a homepage, which kind of attracts people and tells people what your website is about, and maybe also an about section, which tells people a little bit more about yourself and what you want to showcase. So depending on the purpose of your website, for example, if you are trying to show off your creative work, maybe you'll have a section called portfolio, or if you're trying to use it more as a digital resume, you might have a section for your previous work experience or your past personal projects. Either way, it's really flexible and it depends on what you want your personal website for. For the purpose of today's tutorial, I believe we'll be just making like a simple personal website about yourself and showing like your creative work. So now I'm just going to get into the tool that we'll be using for today's tutorial, which is Webflow. So what is Webflow exactly? I'm sure you've heard of maybe some other editors such as WordPress and Wix. So those are similar to Webflow. Webflow is basically just an online design tool for website design and deployment without code. Like I said before, WordPress and Wix are also very popular for website design, and they're also very easy to use editors, but they aren't as customizable as Webflow. Webflow markets itself as being one of the best no-code website design tools, which is exactly what it is. It makes very responsive and dynamic websites, which you could do by coding as well, but it automatically generates that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code for you. And it's a very easy to use and intuitive editor, but it also gives you all the functionality and all the tools that you would need to create a website as if you were coding it yourself. So it's a lot more flexible than some of the other editors you might have heard of. So now I'm just going to get into a brief Webflow introduction, how to create a new project and what the editor looks like before we get into the tutorial, just so it's easier for you to follow along. So after you create your Webflow account, you have the ability to make 2 websites for free or 2 projects for free. So every Webflow account gives you the ability to make 2 websites for free. If you decide that you want to create more projects in the future, you can just subscribe for their paid subscription service. But once you make your account, you will be brought to this general dashboard, and the dashboard gives you the ability to create a new project. So when you click on the top right corner of the dashboard, you can press new project and you'll be brought to this page that has a bunch of different templates for you to choose from. So Webflow has a lot of templates, which is really good if you're just starting out and you don't really know what kind of layout that you want for your website. They have a lot of very simple general layouts that are really fun and good to use when you're first starting out. And they're also flexible too, so you can always move them around and stuff. But for the sake of today's tutorial, we'll be making our website from scratch. So you can choose the blank site preset for the project. And once you click into that blank site project, you'll be brought to the Webflow editor. And so this is what the Webflow editor should look like. It's the main editor, and I'm just going to go over some of the main basic tools on it. So on the left, a very narrow panel on the side, you'll have the tools that can help you place and locate elements on your site, such as like all of the add elements and navigator stuff lets you add elements and see the aspects of your page. Whereas the right panel, which is the thicker panel, that lets you edit those elements in greater detail. In the center here at the top, you'll see that there is a bunch of different website formats that you can choose from. Today, we'll be making a desktop website, but you can further edit the sites on mobile and tablet layouts. Webflow automatically converts your website to fit all devices, but sometimes you might need to do some manual tweaking because, of course, on different devices, sometimes your elements and the layout of your page looks a little bit different, so you have to manually tweak that. But like I said, for today, we'll just be using the general desktop layout. On the top right corner, you'll see you'll see the publish button. So once you click that, you can publish your site to a preset domain for free that Webflow generates for you. It's not the ideal domain, but it is just a free domain that you can use. You can also purchase your own domain separately, and you can attach the site to that as well. So another great thing about the editor is that it automatically saves as you go, so you don't have to worry about losing any changes that you make. And yeah, now I'm just going to get into each of these 4 elements in a little bit more detail. So on the left panel, the first tool that you have is the Add Elements tool. So Webflow supplies a lot of helpful layout options for you to fully customize your site. And if anybody is familiar with HTML and CSS, the way that they label their elements is very similar, such as you can choose to add a container or a grid or a div block. And that's the same way as you would label it in your code when you would be creating those elements on your website. And also to save time, Webflow has already created these pre-built layouts for you, which is basically just a bunch of elements put together. Because a lot of websites tend to have very similar layouts, such as a navigation bar or a contact form or a gallery. And so all of these layouts are already pre-built for you, so you can easily just add that to your website without having to create them from scratch. The next thing on the panel is the navigator, and it basically just acts as a layers panel, which is very similar to other design editors. Like in Figma, when you create a design and you put a bunch of shapes and then you put a bunch of text on top, you'll have all the layers on the side, and it's very similar to here. Once you create your page and you put a bunch of elements on it, you can see the layers in this navigator panel, and you can rename some of the elements as well, so it's easier to find and easier to access. Once you click on an element in the navigator, it'll take you to that element right away. You don't have to like look for it on the page. The next tool on the left panel is the Pages tool, and it basically just shows you how many pages you have active on your site with the home page labeled. So as I said before, depending on the purpose of your website, you might have different pages such as an about page or a portfolio page. And these are all separate pages that you create, and they will all show up here as active pages. And then you can click on it and work on the pages separately. And lastly, last tool there is here, or the last section there is the asset section, which basically just displays all of the images, videos, or documents that you have imported to Webflow to use for your website. So in our case, like I said before, we already chose a bunch of assets to use for the demo today. So make sure that you import the images that you downloaded from Google Drive to Webflow so you have them in your assets panel, and so that you could easily drag and drop them into the website and use them for the website. But yeah, that was basically a very brief overview of the editor, which is the tool that we'll be using today, and what we're creating. And now Joy is going to run through a simple tutorial on Webflow, and you can just follow along on the editor, and we're just going to be creating like a simple demo website.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, and then if everyone can just follow along. If I can find things, okay. We're good. Okay, so once you go into your dashboard, this is kind of what it looks like. You're gonna go to the top right and make a new project. If people haven't already, please let me know if like you need me to like backtrack or like explain things in more detail though, because yeah. So you're gonna name your project. It like automatically generates these names that are really cute. Like my stunning project, like my last one was a 5-star project. So you're gonna create your site, and then it's gonna bring you to the editor that we just talked about. First things first, we wanna import our assets. So you're gonna go down to the second to last icon thing in the left, and then go to the little cloud. And then you're going to upload all of the images that you downloaded from the Google Drive. So there should be 10. And my computer is the slowest computer in the entire world. So we're gonna wait for a sec. Okay, so now that those are imported, we're gonna get started. And first of all, okay, I'll show you like what the thing is supposed to look like. So this is like kind of like our final result of what everything's gonna look like. So you have like a little landing page with a nice photo in the background. Then you're gonna go down to a little about me, and just a little splash of like recent work. As a disclaimer, I obviously did not take any of these photos. This is not me. I just went on Unsplash and then picked everything that like looked really pretty. So yeah, all credits to like the actual photographers. But so we're gonna start off by adding a section. So you're gonna come over to the add elements page, then under layout, the first one section, and you're just gonna drag that into the body and then drop. And then your next step is you're gonna go down into the right side. And so we talked about like the left side is like how you add elements to the page, and then the right side is like how you edit those elements on those pages. So you're gonna scroll all the way down here into backgrounds, image and gradient, and then you're gonna click the plus. And you can see there's like a little like background image thing that shows you that like you're doing it in the right spot. You're gonna choose your image, and then I think I labeled mine like cover or background or something like that. It's just like this mountain. So you're gonna add that on there. For size, here you're gonna click cover, and I'll just like show you later why you do that. And then position on top, you're gonna type -265. And enter. Under tile, you're gonna click the X and don't tile. Okay, now that that's done, you can see, you can like kind of tell it's there, but it's not exactly what you want, right? So you're gonna resize the background image, and the way you're gonna do that is you're going to click into the body section so you can see only body is highlighted and not the section part that was before. Then you're going to go over here to padding and margin. And so anyone who has like a background in HTML and CSS, you kind of know like margin is the spaces around an object and padding is the spaces on the inside of the object. So here we want to change the padding. You're going to hover over edit padding top. You're going to click Alt. If you're on a Mac, it's Option, and that's going to change both the bottom and the top at the same time. Oh God. Okay. Sorry. You're actually going to click the part that says section, not body. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. And then you're going to hover over padding at a top, click Option, and then you're going to drag down. You can see it's like revealing more of the picture, and you're going to stop when it hits 200 or anything that like looks good to you, but I feel like 200 is a pretty good place to stop. And see here, you can like see the image fully. And this is just like to show you kind of like what it was before. If you did custom, it like makes the image like really huge. It doesn't format it properly. If you do contain, then it's like really tiny, right? But cover fits it perfectly to the widths that you want it to. So is everyone good at this point? Any questions? Okay, cool, nice. And then now we're gonna add a nav bar, which is like the navigation bar at the top of every like website. This is like home, everything. So you're gonna go to add elements again, scroll all the way down under components, and it says nav bar. Then you're just gonna drag that into the section and then just drop it. And so like clearly we don't want it to be here, right? So you're just gonna click the nav bar, and once again, we're gonna change the position of it. Then you're gonna drag the edit padding top again, or on the position, you're gonna drag it all the way up until it hits the top of the page. So like right about there. Any questions? Where's the nav bar? You go to add elements, and then you scroll all the way to the bottom in components, and it's nav bar, like this thing right here. So once again, once you drag it there, you're gonna click it, and then you're gonna drag the edit position top all the way up so it hits like minus, let's make it like a nice number, minus 200 pixels. And so it hits the top of the page. And then next we are going to add a heading. Like you see, I put my name on there. So you're gonna put a heading and you're just gonna drag it there. And it's kind of ugly. So I don't know, you're just gonna change it to your name or like your brand or anything that you want to advertise on the page. So you're gonna double click it, and then on the right side, drag all the way down to typography. We're gonna change the font and the weight of everything because Arial is not a very attractive font. So we're gonna be using my favorite font, Montserrat, and I'm gonna say that word a lot over the next workshop. And then under, you're gonna change your weight to normal. And then you're going to align it to the center. And so obviously like, this is not exactly what we wanted, right? You can't even see it. So once again, you're gonna change the padding and the margin. I'm just gonna drag it up to like a place that you think looks kind of nice. I feel like this distance from the top is visually pleasing. You can go higher, you can go lower, anything you want, just so you can like see it properly. Is everyone good up until this point? Cool. We're also, yeah, that too. Control K or Command K. If you're on a Mac, you can search for any component if you're like lost at all. So we're also going to edit the nav bar because it's a little bit ugly. It's like not the same shade of gray as the background. So you're going to click the nav bar so you can see it's like selected right now. On the right side, you're going to scroll all the way down to backgrounds and then color. You're going to click the little box and then you're going to click this one that makes it transparent. And boom, it's beautiful. There's a little container here, which is like if you want to put your brand logo, but we don't have one right now. So we're just going to delete it. And then the nav menu also, we're going to change it. We're only going to have 2 pages for this website. It's going to be the home and the portfolio. So you can just click one of them and just delete them. And then we're going to rename the about section portfolio. Nice. Okay. Good. Okay, so we have like our intro landing section done. So now we're going to make a little about me. So you're going to click add elements, and then we're going to use one of the pre-built-in Webflow layouts. So you go to the layouts panel. You're going to click hero. I don't know, I like honestly don't really know why it's called hero, but we're just going to roll with it. So you're going to click it. You're also going to drag it under the image over here. You see there's like a big size for like your image, and then also a heading, paragraph, and button text. Everyone good? So we're going to change our hero image this time. If you want to double click it, this thing should pop up and it'll be choose image. And then we're going to do the little person. Again, disclaimer, clearly this is not me, but it's a very nice picture. So, and then here, you're going to double tap the heading and then change it to about me. And then if anyone has like a paragraph about themselves, you can do it. I kind of just use like lorem ipsum, but for like this purpose's sake, you can just like leave it as is, as filler text. And let's change up the fonts a little bit because again, Arial is not the best font. So for the body, you're gonna highlight all of this and then go to the right. And in the middle here, it should be typography, font, and then we're going to use Palatino Linotype. And then the header, when I try to get an error section, oh, it's going to be messy. Make sure that you're dragging it underneath. So I can like redo that. Here. You can see it's hovering in the body. If I go up here, then it starts like getting nested into the like the image that I did earlier. But if it's like under, another thing that you can do is you can go to the navigator and then make sure that this is like an entirely different section, right? Hope that helps. Okay, oh yeah, okay. No worries. So we're going to change the heading to Montserrat and make the weight normal. Okay, so this is like a nice little about me section, and then we're gonna also change the buttons. So here, you just click on the button. If you double tap one more time, you can highlight the text, and then I will type something like get in touch, exclamation mark. I'm going to change the font once again to Montserrat, and I'm going to change the color, which is right under it. or actually just color. It's a little bit buggy, the color for the text. I don't really know why, but sometimes like if you saw before, it was hovering like the color is 333, but it like was clearly white. The way to get around it is you like click around to a random color and then you bring it back to wherever you want it to be. And you can change the text to 333, 333, and then it changes properly. And then we're also going to get rid of the blue because that's kind of an ugly color. And then we're going to change it to transparent. Then we're also going to add a little like a border just so people can see the button properly. So right under backgrounds is borders. Radius, let's make it 1 pixel. And then color, we'll make it black. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, or you can just drag it to the bottom left. Cool. And this is sort of like the basic layout that you have right now. You can also, if you don't like the spacing of anything, you can change it in the margins, make it a little bit more spacious. And this is all personal preference. So feel free to play around with it however you like. And so the last part of our homepage is going to be a little like gallery featuring the different, like your 3 most recent photos that we've theoretically taken. So we're going to add a little heading under here. Here, and you can see that this is in the same section that I did the about me. So I don't really want that. So instead of like trying to like drag around, you can just edit it in the navbar and the navigator, and this makes everything a lot easier to figure out. So now you can see that my heading is in a different section than everything else, and it's at the bottom, which is great. So we're going to change our heading to recent photos. Once again, my favorite font, Montserrat, and weight normal. And then we're also going to center it. And I think this is a little bit big. So we're, instead of 38 pixels, I'm going to make it 30 pixels. Montserrat. Dude, honestly, I use that font like way too much for all of my projects. It's a little worrying, but it's so beautiful. Okay, so we're going to add a little columns. Good. And then the columns are going to be down here. Right after you've dropped it in, you can see a little column settings, and we're going to add 3 pictures. So click the one that has 3 that are equally separated. And then you can like see they're not grouped together. And then when you click it, you only have like one of them selected. If you want to edit all of them, again, come to the navigator and you can just select the entire thing, and that's super helpful. So we are going to add an image in here. So if you go to add elements, scroll all the way down to media, image, then you're going to drag and drop that inside one of the columns. And then you're going to do that for each of the columns. Okay, so now you have 3 images. They look a little wonky. We'll change that, don't worry. So clicking, if you double tap the first image, you can choose an image, and then I don't remember what I labeled them again. I think it's like cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, or recent 1, recent 2, recent 3. But I think they're this one. You can see it automatically sizes to like what size the original photo is. and you're just gonna drop them in. So, wow. And I think they're a little bit close to the sides. So I want to change the padding of the entire columns panel. So once again, if you go to Navigator and then click columns, you can select the entire thing. And then if you change the margins a little bit, I'm gonna make it, see, 20, yeah. Feel like it's a decent size from the side. Everyone good? I keep asking that because I like genuinely cannot tell, but hopefully everything is going okay. And okay, so our last thing that we're gonna have on this page is a little footer, just to give yourself creds. So in the add elements page one more time, you are gonna go into layout, and then at the last one is a footer. So we're gonna drag that underneath everything. There we go. Okay. Since we don't have that many pages, it's kind of like a waste to have all of the space. So what I did is like I just deleted all of it, and I'm only gonna have my copyright symbol. So it's 2021, your name, all rights reserved, and then once again, I'm gonna change the font to, you already know, this one. Okay, now that you're done all of that, you can go to the top left and click the little eye symbol, toggle preview. This kind of like gives you a look into what your website looks like right now. I think it looks pretty snazzy. No, not too bad. So we are actually going to make another page. So our second page is going to be the portfolio link, and it'll be like another gallery of just various images, keeping it very simple. So if you go on the left to the fourth icon, pages, you're going to add a new page, then change the name to portfolio, go enter, and then it's like a totally new page. So the only thing that we want to keep the same is our navbar. So we're just going to make a new one. So scroll all the way down in add elements and drag and drop a navbar at the top of the body. We're going to change the color of it. So on the right, backgrounds, color, and you're going to make it transparent. So this little icon here. Delete this one because we don't need 3 pages. And then we're going to rename about to portfolio. Okay. So we're just going to create a little grid of all of our images to make it super simple. So sorry if you didn't see that. Add elements, and then under layout, the third one, grid. Then you're going to drag that one under the navbar. And then it gives you like this kind of funky looking thing. So it just by default gives you 4 grids, and they're all the same size. So I think we have 6 images. And then so we're going to add one more column by clicking the plus symbol on the right here. And then you can click done. And you can see it's like, you can't see anything right now because obviously there's nothing in the grid, but it'll format everything to the bounds between each element. So since we're making a grid of images, we're just going to add 1 image to each of the grids. So you're going to drag and drop an image into each of the grid squares. And then same process that we've done before, you're gonna double click each image and then choose an image. So pick whatever ones that you think would look good in any particular order. Okay, so now you have your 6 images on there. This is all like entirely personal choice. Like some people like it when their images go all the way to the sides. I am not a huge fan of that. I want to have a little bit of white space. So you go back to the navigator and highlight the entire grid. Here we're going to change the spacing of it. So holding Option or Alt on the edit margin left, we are going to drag it to say 40 pixels, just like eyeballing it. And it's a little bit close to the top also, so I want to give that a little bit of breathing room. So the margin at the top, I am also going to drag to 40. Down. Great job. Okay, we're also gonna add another footer to this. Or one thing to note is if you want to ever like add more images onto the grid, it's super easy. You just like go over here and you have like a whole new row. So you can add as many pictures as you want. And so yeah, we're gonna add a footer, which is in add layouts. The last one, footer. I'm gonna drag that down there. Delete this entire thing. And then rename it to, it is not 2010. God. And change the font once more. And there you go. Our last thing that we're going to do is we're going to, if you want to go back to the home page, we're going to assign links to all of our nav links, obviously, because if you want to click onto anything, then you can like instantly redirect it to the page that you want it to go to. So the portfolio link, we want it to go to the portfolios page. So in the top right, next to the style, there's the element settings, or you can click D. And then the second, or the first little tab here is link settings. And so you can make a redirect to a URL, a page section, your email, or a phone number. So for our purposes, we're going to link it to the portfolios page. So click that. And then for our page, we're going to choose portfolio. You also have the option, do you want to open it in a new tab or not? It's totally up to you. Yeah. And then the home button, we're going to link that to the home, obviously. And so we're going to do the same thing for the portfolio. So click the nav link, go to settings, link settings, the second one, and then link the home button to home and the portfolio button to portfolio. Okay. So this is like our finished project. Obviously, this is a super simple way of doing everything. Webflow is a really powerful service, so you can sort of explore on your own time. Like, do you want to add div blocks, paragraphs, videos, YouTubes, little animations? There's like a lot of things you can do about it, but this is just sort of like a taste into, you know, like what sort of things you can accomplish. And oh yeah, if you want to try it out, go into the toggle preview and you just like click on the buttons and, you know, wow. So that concludes our like workflow tutorial. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want me to go through again? I'm gonna take that as a no. Have you tried playing around with the CSS? No, personally not yet. I'm not that familiar with CSS honestly myself, which is why like Webflow is such a good tool for me because I can just like drag and drop everything. It's really easy. But there's actually like Webflow has a lot of really good tutorials online. Like they have a whole like Webflow University thing, which has like hour-long like run-throughs of like how to use all of their functions. Don't have anything more for this workshop. Thanks everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Good luck with exam season.
I'm just going to link like a feedback form in the chat if you want to, give any feedback on today's workshop. There's the form, but other than that, yeah, I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful, and thanks for coming.
Hi, thank you for this. Could I ask a question actually quickly?
Yeah.
And sorry, I don't know what happened, but my stuff just like all the formatting just like got messed up. I don't know if I did something random. And like for the portfolio page, it's like really big.
Oh, okay. So why don't we do the portfolio part first? If you want to click in the navigator, so the third icon on the left. Yeah, and just click grid. And then on the right side, go back to the element settings and then try playing around with the padding. Or sorry, the margins. Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
So that's like a little smaller. You can also manually change the size of like the boxes if you like click them, and then also in like under size on the right. Like right now it's just auto because it's like the size of whatever you want it to be, but you can like play around with that.
Oh, okay, maybe. Not sure. Yeah, I can play around with this one myself, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Is it an issue with this too?
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's
okay.
perfect.
Okay, I have no idea why they're so big. For the home, I guess I just like I guess this one. Do you have to save your work on here?
No, it saves automatically.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll re-edit this, but this is the right size.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is there supposed to be like a menu here?
No, you can add one if you want, but I just added like 2 pages, so that's it.
Okay, sounds like I'll go back and like fix it. I think something just happened. I'm not sure, but thank you guys.
No worries.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
You too.